Time to pull up a chair. We've got another great story for you today in the rLounge. Jealousy makes people do some crazy things. Today in the rLounge, sometimes petty's the best medicine. Jealous sister-in-law called me a gold digger. Now I own her childhood home and she's homeless. I met my husband at a music festival a few years back. I'm 32, just a regular person who loves digging through thrift stores for old vinyl records and fixing up beat-up furniture. He's 38, kind of quiet, with a scruffy beard and a thing for tinkering with vintage motorcycles. We clicked over our shared obsession with vinyl, spending nights talking at a dive bar, spinning records on a cheap turntable. Fast forward, we got married in a no-frills courthouse wedding, just the two of us and a couple of witnesses. It was perfect for us, low-key and real. But his sister? She's been a problem since day one. She's 35, still living in her parents' house, not paying a dime. From the moment I met her, she had this attitude, like I didn't belong in her family. I'm not the type to take crap, but I tried to keep the peace for my husband's sake. Things got bad at a family barbecue, though. She pulled me aside while everyone was eating and straight up called me a gold digger. Said I only married her brother for his family's money. I couldn't help but laugh. Money? Their family isn't loaded. They've got a modest house from the 70s, kind of run down with peeling paint and a leaky roof. It's not some mansion. I told her, if I'm a gold digger, where's the gold? I'm still driving my 2009 Honda. She didn't like that, stormed off, muttering something about me never fitting in. Her parents, who are sweet but kind of clueless, just said she's protective of her brother. I let it slide, but it stuck with me. Things got worse after that. She started texting my husband, warning him that I was using him, saying I'd leave once I bled him dry. I saw the text because we share an iPad for streaming shows, and her messages popped up one night while I was watching a movie. She was going on about how I was shady and didn't deserve him. I was pissed, but I didn't say anything right away. I figured I'd give her a chance to chill out. Spoiler, she didn't. Instead, she doubled down, sending more texts, each one nastier than the last. She even told him I was probably cheating and just waiting to take everything in a divorce. Her obsession with me kept ramping up. She wasn't just texting him anymore. She started spreading lies to the rest of the family. She told her parents I was controlling her brother, keeping him away from them. She even said I was after their childhood home, like I was some cartoon villain plotting to steal their legacy. Her parents still own it, and she's been living there rent-free forever, so I guess she felt entitled to it. My husband told her to knock it off, but she just rolled her eyes and kept going. I started saving screenshots of her texts. It all came to a head when her parents invited us over to talk about their estate plans. They're getting older, and they wanted to sort things out. We were sitting in the living room, drinking coffee, when they dropped a bomb. They wanted to transfer the deed of the house to me and my husband as a gift. They said their daughter was unstable and hadn't contributed anything to the family, just mooched off them for years. I was shocked but grateful. They saw us as responsible, and it felt good to know they trusted us. But she was there, lurking in the hallway, and she overheard everything. She lost it, came storming in, screaming that I'd manipulated her parents into cutting her out. I wasn't having it. I told her, "You've been living here for free, not lifting a finger, and you think you're owed something? Maybe they're just tired of carrying you." She got red in the face, grabbed a glass from the coffee table, and chucked it at the wall. It shattered, missing me by inches. Her parents yelled at her to get out, and she stormed off, but not before giving me a look like she was planning something worse. That night, I couldn't sleep. Her throwing that glass wasn't just a tantrum. It felt personal, like she wanted to scare me. I wasn't about to let her think she could intimidate me, but I also knew she wasn't going to stop. A while later, I was paying bills on our shared email account. We use it for stuff like utilities, and I noticed something was off. There was an email from her to some sketchy-sounding lawyer with a subject line about contesting the estate. The email was vague, but she mentioned proving fraud and getting the house back. My stomach dropped. She was clearly up to something shady. I decided to get ahead of it. I hired a private investigator to look into what she was planning. I know some people might think that's extreme, but I didn't care. She'd called me a gold digger, lied about me to her family, and now she was emailing lawyers about fraud. I wasn't going to wait for her to screw me over. The PI got back to me pretty quick, and what he found made my blood boil. She'd been forging documents, trying to make it look like I'd coerced her parents into changing their estate plans. She even faked emails that looked like they came from me, saying stuff like I was pressuring them to sell the house and split the money. It was all lies designed to make me look like the schemer she kept accusing me of being. I couldn't believe she'd go that far, forging my name to steal the house she thought was hers. I wasn't about to let her get away with it. I took the PI's evidence, screenshots, forged emails, the whole deal, and went to a coffee shop to confront her. I didn't want her in my space, and I figured a public place would keep things from getting too crazy. I slid the folder of evidence across the table and said, "You think you can forge my name and steal what's not yours?" She didn't even blink, just leaned back and smirked. "You don't deserve that house," she said, like it was a fact. I wanted to scream, but I kept it together and told her, "You're done. I've got everything I need to bury you." Then I walked out. That's where things stand. I'm sitting on a pile of evidence that she's been lying and forging documents to screw me over. My husband's on my side, but he's torn because it's his sister. Her parents are starting to see her for who she is, but I don't know how far they'll go to hold her accountable. I'm not backing down, though. She's been coming for me since the day we met, and now she's trying to ruin my life with this fraud crap. What would you do, Reddit? Has anyone dealt with a family member pulling this kind of stunt? It's really unfair that your sister-in-law has been so hostile and has tried to sabotage your relationship and your standing with the family. Calling you a gold digger when she's been living rent-free for years is pretty ironic. It's good that your husband and his parents see the situation clearly and are supporting you. I'd say keep documenting everything and stay close to your husband and his parents. If she continues to escalate, having solid evidence will be key to protecting yourselves legally. Update 1. So things have gone completely off the rails since I last posted. I thought showing her the PI's evidence at the coffee shop would shut her up. Wrong. Here's what's gone down. I took the PI's folder, those fake emails where she tried to paint me as bullying her parents into handing over the house, and showed it to my husband and his folks. Her mom broke down, saying she never thought her daughter would sink that low. Her dad just sat there, staring at the floor, grumbling about how she's been in trouble since she was a kid. My husband wanted to call her, thinking maybe they could talk it out and she'd come clean. I wasn't having it. "She's done lying to us. No more chances," I told him. He agreed, but I could tell he was torn. It's his sister, after all. Her parents, though, were pissed. They started talking about how she's been living in their house rent-free, not lifting a finger, and now this forgery crap? Fast forward, we met with a lawyer to lock down the house transfer. Her parents were dead set on giving it to us, saying they trusted us to take care of it. The lawyer looked over the PI's evidence and said those forged emails weren't just shady, they were illegal. He got the paperwork moving to transfer the deed to me and my husband, making sure she couldn't pull any more stunts. The house isn't some fancy estate, just a beat-up 2-bedroom with a saggy porch. But it's theirs to give, and they chose us. She didn't take it well. She showed up at our apartment one night, banging on the door like a maniac. I didn't open it. I'm not stupid. But I could hear her screaming through the wood about how I'd stolen her childhood. I yelled back, "You forged my name and lied to your own parents. You did this to yourself." She kept pounding, shouting about how she'd fix this, and I'd be sorry. Then I heard a loud scrape. By the time I checked the doorbell cam, she was gone. But my car had a long, ugly scratch down the side. I knew it was her. I filed a police report the next morning, attaching the video from the cam. The cops said they'd look into it. Still, I wanted it on record. She wasn't getting away with acting like a psycho. Then things got even shadier. The PI I hired kept digging, and he found something that made my jaw drop. She wasn't just messing with the house stuff. She was running a side hustle selling fake designer bags online. She was using her parents' address as the return address for her business, shipping knockoff purses and wallets to people who thought they were getting the real deal. She'd been at it for months, racking up complaints from buyers who got ripped off. One guy was so mad he'd already filed a lawsuit against her, claiming she scammed him out of $2,000 for a fake Gucci bag. The PI had screenshots of her listings, customer complaints, and even an email where she bragged to a friend about making easy money. I couldn't believe it. She was calling me a gold digger while running a straight-up con. I sent an anonymous tip to the local police with the PI's findings, screenshots, emails, the works. If she wanted to play dirty, I'd play dirtier. A while later, I got word she'd been arrested for fraud related to her bag scam. Apparently, the cops had been building a case after more victims came forward. She didn't have money for a lawyer, and her parents flat out refused to bail her out. She managed to get a friend to lend her a phone and texted my husband, begging for help, saying she'd learned her lesson and just needed a little cash to get back on her feet. I grabbed his phone before he could reply and texted back, "You're not our problem anymore." Cold? Maybe. We decided to move into the house to start fixing it up. It needed work. Leaky pipes, cracked tiles, a backyard that looked like a jungle. I'm handy with a sander and a paintbrush, so we figured we'd do it ourselves and make it ours. While we were cleaning out the attic, I found a box of her old stuff. faded photos from high school, a diary with pages falling out, and a cheap locket she'd accused me of stealing years ago when we first met. She'd made a big scene at a family picnic, claiming I'd swiped it from her room. Turns out it was buried in her junk the whole time. I mailed the box to her last known address with a note. "Take your junk and stay out of my life." I don't know if she got it, but her cousin mentioned she was crashing on friends' couches, bouncing around after her parents cut her off. She was starting to spiral. Then she pulled another stunt. She tried to sue us, claiming emotional distress because she got cut out of the house deal. Our lawyer almost laughed when he saw the filing. Her forged emails and the police report from the car keying incident made her look like a joke. The judge tossed her case out in a preliminary hearing, saying she had no leg to stand on, especially with her fraud arrest on record. I sat on the courtroom, staring her down as she tried to play the victim, whining about how the house was her birthright. The judge ruled against her. She didn't get to win this one. That's where things are now. The house is ours, and we're slowly making it home. I've got my lawyer ready in case she tries anything else, and the PI is still on speed dial. My husband's been quiet about it. He loves his sister, but he's starting to see she's her own worst enemy. Her parents aren't talking to her much either, which says a lot. Update 2. After her lawsuit got tossed, I figured she'd slink away, but she wasn't done. But the PI I kept on her trail came through again. He found out she'd been trying to rally some distant cousins to take back the house, claiming I'd manipulated her parents into giving it to us. She was spinning the same old lies, saying I was a gold digger who'd conned her family. The cousins didn't buy it. Her track record of scams and forgery was too much, even for them. But the PI also dug up something else. She'd been dodging the lawsuit from one of her bag scam victims, and they were coming for her hard. The guy who sued her for $2,000 wasn't playing. He'd gotten a lawyer and was pushing for criminal charges on top of the civil case. The police were already sniffing around her for fraud, and this just added fuel. Fast forward, her fraud case went to trial. The prosecution had a mountain of evidence. My anonymous tip from before helped, but other victims came forward with receipts, emails, and screenshots of her fake bag listings. She tried to play the victim, claiming she was just trying to get by. She got slapped with an 18-month sentence and ordered to pay restitution to her victims, which she definitely couldn't afford. Her parents didn't show up to the trial. They'd washed their hands of her after the forgery stunt. My husband got a call from her public defender asking if we'd help with her legal fees. We declined. While she was dealing with that, we were settling into the house. It's not a palace, still needs a new roof, but we've been fixing it up. I painted the walls a soft gray, ripped out the old carpet, and planted a small lavender garden out back because I loved the smell. While we were cleaning out a closet, I found an old photo of her as a kid, taped under a shelf like she'd hidden it. She was smiling, sitting in the backyard with a popsicle. I tossed it in the fire and burned it. She doesn't get to haunt this place anymore. Fast forward again, she got out of jail early for good behavior. I heard through her cousin she had nowhere to go, so she was sleeping in her beat-up car at a rest stop. She started leaving voicemails on my husband's phone, whining about how she'd changed and needed a place to crash. Then she crossed a line. A neighbor called me one evening, saying they saw her creeping around the house, peering through the windows like some kind of stalker. I checked the doorbell cam, and there she was, sneaking around in a hoodie, looking inside. I called the cops right away. They picked her up for trespassing, and when I got to the house, she was sitting in the back of the patrol car, crying. I stood on the porch and said, "This stopped being your home when you tried to scam your way into it. Get lost." The cops took her away. She didn't have an address to give them, just a backpack and a dead phone. The fallout kept coming. Her scam victims started a local Facebook group, airing out every shady thing she'd done. People posted about her fake bags, the forged emails, even old high school drama where she'd pull similar stunts. It was like watching her life unravel in real time. Her cousin said she was bouncing between shelters now, officially homeless, with no money and no one willing to take her in. I didn't join the group. I don't need to pile on, but I read it. It's wild how many people she's burned. She didn't just mess with me, she made enemies everywhere. Now, I'm sitting in my living room, sipping coffee, looking at the Christmas lights we strung up around the windows. Reddit, what's the prettiest thing you've done to someone who crossed you? It's wild how she's been accusing you of scheming when she's the one running a fake bag scam and forging emails. Classic case of the pot calling the kettle black. At least she's finally getting her own consequences. Losing the house, going to jail, getting cut off, and now bouncing between couches and shelters. Sometimes people have to hit rock bottom before they figure things out, though she's making it hard to feel sorry for her. Meanwhile, you and your husband are actually making the house a home, fixing it up and moving forward. That's the win here. How did you handle someone who just wouldn't stop trying to sabotage your life and what they did to you? Let us know in the comments. And thank you for joining us today in the rLounge. Be sure to like and subscribe and hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on our next video. Until next time. And please put your chair back where you found it.